Hey everyone, it's MyJub Jr. With the overwhelmingly powerful specialist abilities featured in Black Ops 4, it isn't surprising to see that so many people struggle with going on long streaks and earning enough points to call in things like gunships and strike teams. Therefore today I thought it would be useful to give some tips and tricks to help survive longer in multiplayer. Although, as a heads up, most of the info in this video will be backed up more by experience and opinion rather than actual numbers. But with that out of the way, without further delay, let's just dive straight into it. First, as for my recommended game modes, at a first glance it may seem more difficult to go on long streaks in game modes such as Team Deathmatch or Kill Confirmed, due to the obvious kill limits and rapidly changing spawns. But in Black Ops 4, I find that Team Deathmatch seems to be one of the best game modes to go on long streaks due to the simple fact that the average level of players playing in that game mode is lower there. Plus it's also paired with the fact that people don't quite know when to use their specialist abilities, so you often don't really get caught up in them as much as you usually would in game modes like Domination or Hardpoint. This is also not to mention that, as well as since the map design of Black Ops 4 is fairly linear, it makes controlling and patrolling the map in Team Deathmatch much more easier than you would expect compared to other Call of Duty games. But how to do that, we'll go more into that later in the video. But now, as for objective-based game modes, most will actually just do the trick on its own, except for I would say Hardpoint and Safeguard, due to how aggressive you need to be to participate in the objectives to earn additional points. And since you have to be in an aggressive position, this will most often place you in a way of bad situations and specialist abilities, which is, as you can expect, very detrimental when you're trying to go on long streaks. However, speaking of specialists, any of them will really suffice in my opinion, but the ones I feel just work a lot more better are the ones that emphasize control over the map. Thus, I would recommend specialists like Ajax, Nomad, Recon, or Torque. But if you're really feeling confident, Crash is also a very good choice due to his resupply pack and health boosts, giving him a great asset in being able to earn your streaks faster. But with that being said, Crash only really works if you're able to hold your own ground without relying on your own specialist abilities. So I highly suggest giving these specialists a spin, as each and every one of them have incredibly useful tools that will help keep you alive, but to also give you an advantage over your opponents to secure easier kills. For a loadout, I feel it's best to build a more well-balanced setup, as that will help you stand a chance in every situation that you'll encounter, instead of just being effective in some situations. For this reason, I find it's most useful to stick to low recoil assault rifles and SMGs, such as the Quartite, SOG, Demon, ICR, or pretty much any of the LMGs if you're deciding to take it more slow. If you're needing some help with creating these classes, I put a few together that are just my absolute favorite when I'm wanting to go on long streaks. As for how to use them, they all perform pretty much the same, where it really favors flanking and trying to get around your enemy. However, once you start trying to push them directly, you won't fare nearly as well as if you were playing more tactically. However, going on long streaks is not as simple as just using the right guns and specialists and then magically you would be able to get gunships. Instead, much of this depends on the right playstyle. In fact, if you practice the right playstyle enough, you'd be able to go on long streaks with pretty much any setup, including just using pistols for that instance. With that, from my own perspective, I believe the right playstyle depends on two things: gun skill and positioning. Having a good gun skill allows you to stand a better chance at winning the basic head-on gunfights, like for instance when you randomly run into an enemy. While on the other hand, positioning is equally important, as it allows you to think of your own placement to create an advantage over your opponents. A couple of great examples is just simply using cover whenever you come across some, limiting how much of yourself you're exposing, flanking, or just not sprinting around corners as well. And as well as if you're using an SMG, sometimes you'll just keep yourself at more closer ranges. Additionally, you can also try to pick people off from the side as they go from objectives or teammates. And basically just thinking of ways to be more unpredictable. It's these little things that just really add up, that really allow you to get easier kills or stay out of situations that you would not like to enter. They may seem very obvious at a first glance, but it can be very easy to forget them in the moment. So on the next match you try out, don't be afraid to try to find a more advantageous position when an enemy's trying to push your location, instead of standing in predictable spots or attempting to round the corner to try to challenge them. Take for instance, if you know several opponents are closing in on you, instead of trying to fight them directly, why not try to hide and let them pass by and shoot them from behind? Getting into the right mindset just takes some getting used to, unfortunately, but in the end, it's definitely worth it. So with this relatively short video, hopefully these pieces of advice will help some of you out there, as these are what really works out for me. So with any luck, hopefully it might also work out for you. But anyways, if you found any of this useful, a share or a like will be much appreciated as always. And thanks for stopping by, and until the next video.